AskReddit by Blonde Tabby. What are some places where no children should be allowed? On YouTube being exploited in the name of family vlogging. Deleted. Report them, you have to be 13 to have an account on TikTok. Strip club. My first apartment with my husband was behind a strip club. One summer, my husband noticed on his way to work that a bunch of kids would hang out in the parking lot of the club looking at their phones. He didn't know why kids were hanging out in a strip club parking lot until a few days later when he was showing me Pokemon Go on his phone and we realized the strip club was a gym. The bar I work at, but people are shocked when they can't bring their kids with them. Edit. I pour wine in an upstairs tasting lounge. Due to our liquor license, children cannot be in areas where alcohol is being served. We could get shut down. I'm not being mean. I'm following the law and protecting my business. I work in a pub, and about a month ago, one of our managers found a few kids, aged about 5 and 7 roughly, sitting around and playing in the foyer of the building, the small room in the entrance, usually where the bouncers are on weekends. We are a strict 18+ only pub, so naturally our manager went up to these kids to see why they were here. As soon as he approached them, the mother appeared, wondering why he was trying to talk to her kids. Turns out both the mum and dad came to our pub to watch one of the World Cup games, saw it was 18+ only, and decided the best course of action was to abandon their kids at the front door, and have them wait till the game was over, so for about 2 hours. It's safe to say they got rejected and barred from the pub. They missed the second half of what was a very exciting game as well. Reddit. Exhibit A. Are teenagers. Beauty pageants. France banned child beauty pageants for kids under the age of 16. Aside from that, I don't think there are any other Western countries which practice child pageants that have banned these pageants, unfortunately. Correct me if I'm wrong. The horrors displayed on the show Toddlers and Tiaras are enough evidence that these pageants are not safe for children. Edit. I am aware that it isn't common in most countries, which is why they didn't have to implement any laws. I'm only referring to the countries that did have kid pageants, and how France is the only one of those that banned them. Social media. I agree. Even in 2023 some parents aren't tech smart either. My daughter isn't allowed a phone until she's older, literally has an iPad with everything on. My know-it-all aunt. Spencer's lol. I was in there with my GF buying toys a while ago. A little girl is in front of us waiting for her mom to buy her shirt. Then the mother gives me the stink eye as she grabs her kid and walks away. Maybe don't take your kid to a store that sells bongs and amp sex toys. So true. Even one time I was there with my husband and we were just looking at the stuff in the back for fun and we see this mother come in with her newborn in a stroller that looked about 3 months along with a 7-year-old. This child was looking at stuff and questioning to the mom who ignored them. I really get mad when parents don't care about what they expose their children to. Most of the internet. Kids need their own spaces on the internet. They used to have them, but stuff like Club Penguin shut down, so they got pushed onto social media. It doesn't help that bad parents use Yout about a babysitter. Just had a baby crying in the movie theater like it was his religion. In my town, there are screenings for parents with babies. Light is dimmed but not fully dark. Volume is a bit lower than normal. The stall is basically empty with at most one parent and their infant per row. I watched a couple of movies with my daughter. You see a lot of parents walking around to soothe their babies, or a parent changing a diaper. Since everyone is on the same page, no one cares if your infant starts shouting. Most cases when parents do this is while they are sleeping. I know cinema is not for kids, but as a parent in winter, you need to find places to go and get distracted. I do not want to be one of those parents ruining someone else's experience. Therefore I am grateful my local cinema does this. Tattoo shops. Don't bring your kid with you when you're getting a tattoo. We're not going to look after them, and no, they can't just sit in a corner with an iPad. Yes. Turned around to make a stencil the other day. Came back to the client's kid reaching up to try to get into my shops. Mom on the phone not even watching. Fremont Street in Las Vegas. Snapchat and TikTok. The Duggars family home. Even with convicted pedophile Josh Duggar in federal prison, that home is still not safe. Child abuse is rampant in the fundamentalist cult. Switch up. What if I provide air conditioning? The apartment above mine. Sad story. I once lived in an apartment where I could hear that the upstairs neighbors were abusing their kids. I could hear loud footfalls and adults screaming, followed by much lighter footfalls and children crying hysterically. I called the city's child abuse hotline and the noise abruptly stopped a few days later, but I have no idea what happened to the kids or the adults. I really wish that they would follow up on calls with what they did with the kids and parents. Gyms. Your little kid shouldn't be near heavy weights nor machines even if you are right there. So sorry this gym doesn't have a child care area, but it only takes a second to break some bones. Strip clubs. Child-free weddings. R-rated late movies on school nights. Gambling establishments. Went to late night showing of the movie Ted. We're talking 10 PM on a weeknight. 5 minutes into the movie mom comes in with 3 kids. 5 minutes later the mom walked out with 3 kids. R. Kelly's house. Pretty sure he's not there now so it should be safe. War. OnlyFans. Omegle. I heard about that site years ago and children and teenagers were talking to pedos, groomers, etc. and these disgusting people were on the site showing their freaking private parts to kids. There was a post in a group I'm in on Facebook that their ratio, I think, child was on the site and some pervert was showing himself to the child. Apparently a slightly older sibling showed it to the child. Instagram and TikTok. I'd add Snapchat to that list as well. Some real creeps out there. Casinos. Recently took my kid to Vegas. Because I have family that live nearby, we all took our kids to the strip because there's a bunch of family friendly activities there now. My daughter kept pointing out all the smokers and drinking and half naked showgirls and I thought no, I'm the asshole. This is supposed to be the place for adults to come and have fun. Recently went to Vegas for my brother's bachelor party. I was shocked at the amount of people carting their kids around on the strip well past midnight. We grew up as kids visiting Vegas once a year because my dad's company sent him to a convention every summer. He took us and we were restricted to the hotel room, the buffet, and the pool. We never went to the strip past nightfall. A rave. Absolutely agree. I was an early 2000s raver and would occasionally see kids at some of the weekend-long festivals. I was wandering around on acid and would see children and feel horrible. Also at recoveries arters, having people bring their babies young kids because they couldn't go to the rave itself but they could come to the arters. Absolutely not. Just no. There were sketchy, drug-fucked, drunk people who'd been awake for a very long time, who sometimes didn't have much control. Do not bring a child into an environment that volatile. My team's in PvP. I thought this tool was paired with some 13-yo who carried me to a bunch of wins. Now we're game buddies. A white van. Whoa up there. That's my minivan you're talking about there. My basement. This guy's basement. I saw a teenager bring her newborn infant. I heard her bragging about it had been less than a month, in between Metallica and Whitesnake songs into a bowling alley on rock night and I never wanted to punch a teenager more than I did that night. Ugh. I also heard an infant crying in a 4x4 driven by a drunkard that was out deliberately disturbing a campsite at 2 AM on a Wednesday once. I would like to have punched those people in the throat, too. I guess children shouldn't be allowed with stupid teenagers with no direction. Or obnoxious drunks? What was she bragging about? Didn't get it. The ducking porn store. I can't tell you how many times I have to turn people with 3 and 4-year-olds away at the one I work at. It's insane. One lady brought her kid in and was like, he's on a leash. It's ridiculous. OMG, what is wrong with people? Steel mill. They lack the experience and frankly it's just a safety hazard. Social media. The dog park. Seriously. I've seen people bring their kids to a dog park without even having a dog themselves, like it's some sort of canine petting zoo rather than canine fight club. A factory. Hazardous work sites. Children should not be allowed in places where there are heavy machinery or other hazards that could pose a risk to their safety. Deleted. Every adult interaction with a lone child now requires 2 adults not part of the same household to be in the room at my church for as long as I can remember. The specificity of not part of the same household makes me suspect something extra dark happened at some point, but I agree it makes good sense. Dog parks. It's dangerous even for me, as an adult human. I've gotten flattened by a group of running dogs and the dogs didn't even bat an eye. Hell, it's even dangerous for dogs. They are dog level, so curious but confident dogs could sniff the face, and if the baby human isn't used to that, well, accidents happen. Your kid is used to your dog? Congrats. That's one dog. There are thousands of different dogs, all with different needs and training. My dog does not like kids. She's never been around them. You pull on her ear or snout, she might growl and not be happy or desensitized to it, but that's never happened as I don't let it. Some people might see this as stupid, but stupid things happen to even the smartest of people. Should be a 10+ area. Beauty contests. For real, it's creepy. Climbing gyms. I have had 3 close calls of nearly crushing a child because parents think it is some big play area that kids can just run around and don't realize that an adult falling 6 feet from a route could seriously hurt a child. An Ambler convention. The North American Marlon Brando Lookalikes Association. Near anything bar fridge, sound bar. Beauty pageants. In my way when I'm trying to sprint. My house because stuff is really depressing here. Coal mines. Anywhere something sexual is occurring. Any drinking parties. The amount of times people have brought their 6-month-old child to a drinking party is insane. Back in my concert going days, I saw babies there too. I know plenty of people who are involved in LARPing and Society for Creative Anachronism, and have heard plenty of stories about people who brought their babies or small children. Once. Movie theaters. Unless the kid can actually stfu for 1.5-2 hours, don't bring them. Some theaters have specific times and days for parents to watch a movie. Your baby toddler. I always thought that was a great idea. I believe it was also late morning, mid-afternoon only. On an seldom used app commonly known as Snapchat, nothing good will come. I cannot believe I have to say it, but a fucking bar. And X200B. And X200B. Who brings their kids to a bar? Well, I know a few people who did. The house of a politician.